Yeah. FBA dreams, FBM hustle, private label stacking muscle, Intel rank on the track.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of intelliTALKS. For today we have a sexy topic that we'll be discussing. It's around insurances and the mandatory one that we have to pay for every year with Amazon specifically. And my guest for today is Rohit Nair. Rohit, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Marshall.
It's a pleasure. So Rohit is the CEO and founder of Assureful Insurance. I will kindly ask him to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about him and about the company.
Sure. So my background is e-commerce. I started on Amazon in 2013 with one brand. And by 2020 had 5 e-commerce brands. And then I started selling them at the hike time. So I sold all 5 between 2020 October and 2022 when the last exit was. So, but
Good
coming
timing.
from the industry, I know, good timing, right? But coming from the industry, I found that compliance and, we got suspended twice on Amazon for the lack of appropriate insurance. And every single insurance company didn't really understand e-commerce. And so with the exits, I saw that there was a great opportunity to launch an insurance company for e-commerce businesses specifically. And that's what we did at Assureful.
All right, that's amazing. Yeah, it's mandatory now. If you pass like the $10,000 per month, you have to have an insurance. I'm sure most of our audience knows that already. But in terms of the, let's say, why do you think that major retailers like Amazon, Walmart require sellers to carry the commercial general liability insurance? Let's start with that.
Right. So with all marketplaces and all retailers, they want to disclaim liability. So in the event that your product that you sell, whether it's private label or you're a retailer, like a wholesaler or a retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, since you're using them as a marketplace or a sales channel, they want you to bear responsibility for the product in the event that the product injures somebody, destroys some property, or kills someone. And so typically what would happen is that somebody gets injured. They tend to see, personal injury lawyer in America, and there's billboards everywhere saying, got hurt, call Morgan & Morgan and at this toll-free number. And so there's a lot of these personal injury lawyers running around. And if you buy a product on Amazon, they are very happy to sue Amazon. And what Amazon wants to do is to say, it wasn't us that made the product or sold the product, it's this third-party seller, go after him. And to do that, they need to be known as an additional insured on your insurance policy. That is, you're not only being insured by your insurer, but Amazon is also going to be insured. And the same applies with Walmart as well and all your other retail channels, including Target, Home Depot, Target.com, Target Plus, whatever it is. You must have insurance. Different retailers have different limit requirements. Amazon is the lowest at $1 million, but it is mandatory, it is required, and you will get suspended if you don't have the right insurance.
Yeah, that's amazing. And in the US, like very well mentioned, people are suing for pretty much anything. So it's also safe for the seller, I guess.
Absolutely. It's so important. I mean, sellers all the time. I mean, we've got thousands of these sellers who are insured by us, and at any one point in time, there's multiple claims that we're sitting on that we're dealing with. For the most silly reasons, sellers get sued. And if they don't have the right insurance and people like us to deal with it and pay for it, a lot of times businesses go bankrupt, and whatever you're working for not just could be destroyed, but will be destroyed eventually. And that's why you need somebody to stand there, deal with all the problems for you, pay for it, pay for the lawyers, and just take it off your plate so that we're dealing with the lawsuits and you're dealing with running your Amazon business.
Yeah, that's
And Marcel
amazing.
is dealing with your PPC campaigns, right?
Oh,
Growing
yeah.
your ranks.
Thank you for that. Yeah. We're doing that in the trenches over there. So yeah, we're aboard. Nevertheless, what do, let's say, e-commerce sellers do often underestimate in terms of the risks that come with the insurance, and maybe not having an insurance, even though it's mandatory right now, it's not an option. So yeah, maybe for also here we have some people that have their own Shopify, so that would imply also a good information for them, because if they're running an e-commerce, when e-commerce in general is affected by these potential lawsuits, so it's important to at least be aware that insurance. It's good to have an insurance. Yeah.
Absolutely. So with your product liability insurance, this is what, our core offering is product liability, where we take on the risk of whatever may happen. And there are lots and lots and lots and lots of risks, right? So something as simple as product failure that may happen. Most, if not all, of our insureds, and we call our customers our insureds, our insureds import products from China. Very often they don't see the product or handle the product themselves or do quality control or quality checks on it. They rely on third parties in China doing those checks. And even if their products are made in the US or anywhere else in the world, an e-commerce business typically doesn't handle manufacturing, and they don't handle the entire process themselves around quality control. Things go wrong. Like recently there was an electronic seller, and they had an air conditioning product, window air conditioner, and the remote control of the air conditioner had a design flaw in that there was no screw at the back of it, and it had a coin cell battery which a toddler swallowed, and the lawsuit was settled for $40 million. So it's huge. And there's obviously the case of the exercise ball, where I can't remember his name, but he was an NBA basketball player who the ball popped while he was sat on top of it in training, and he injured his leg, and the insurers have to pay for his entire NBA contract because he's no longer able to play basketball. And I think that was maybe $80 or $90 million. So as high as that, as low as we routinely see claims for the product destroyed my dressing table, and that was a $5,000 dressing table that was gifted to me by my grandmother, and so that we would deal with that claim as well. So products. And we're all in the business of consumer products at the end of the day. Yeah. And the majority are selling consumer products in the US, which is the highest liability environment in the world. There's no riskier market to sell your products in than the US, because the court systems are fast. The tort lawyers work on a no-win, no-fee basis, which means that it costs people nothing to sue you. And something as simple as, your product was shipped to by Amazon FBA to a customer, and somebody tripped over the box that the product was shipped in, right? Yeah. You're still being sued for that, so, which is crazy, but because that had nothing to do with your product even, but it is, it's things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. So you need to be aware, because risks are everywhere. And unfortunately, people focus on other parts of their business, rightly so, and neglect protecting the liability associated with their businesses selling consumer products. So, and this goes for businesses of not just marketplace sellers, but even Shopify sellers and businesses selling through retail channels. You must protect your business and what you built.
Definitely, yeah. But why do you think traditional annual insurance policies are a poor fit for e-commerce sellers with, let's say, seasonal or fast-changing sales? How do you look at that?
superb question. And that kind of feeds into what we do at Assureful and how we're different from every other insurer in the market. So number one, we are not insurance brokers. We underwrite the insurance in that we make the decision on what we're going to cover and how much we're going to charge. An insurance broker will send it out to 5 insurance companies, one of them being us. If it's e-commerce, typically we see broker submissions. But what every other insurance company will do is that they will ask you to project your sales for the next 12 months. So this is an annual projection. And this number 100% of the time is incorrect. It's always wrong. You could say you're going to do 200K in sales or 20 million in sales, and it'll never be on point. You could do, you could be over confident at the start of the year and say you're going to do $1 million and you end up with 900K in sales, in which case you have overpaid for insurance already. Or you could say $1 million and do 1.2 because you were underconfident. And then the last 200K is uninsured. And so this is a critical distinction to be made here, where Assureful does not ask you to project your sales for the next 12 months. Assureful looks at the last 30 days of actual sales, rates it, prices it, underwrites it, and bills you every month based on the actual sales that you had. And so what this does is that you're never overinsured and therefore overpaying, and you're never underinsured. That means opening yourself up to risk. This is super, super important.
Yeah.
Because other insurers might offer you the ability to pay monthly, because obviously it's great for cash flow if you're paying monthly as well, as opposed to annually. But when you pay monthly with other insurers, you're paying a premium finance charge. And that's around 20 to 25% extra that you're paying if you're trying to pay it monthly, just so you can manage cash flow. So with all of these things in mind, with Assureful being natively monthly billed and usage-based, it is the best insurance product on the market. I'm quite proud to say that.
That's amazing. And actually, this is information I never thought about until now. So it's very, very good information for me as well. So that's amazing. But how does Assureful actually evaluate the risk at, let's say, a product category level across the, number of categories that there are out there? Huge number.
So this is also great. So every other insurer, and I get excited when talking about risk. So sorry about the excitement.
No, it's perfect.
But, so every insurer in the world is putting all consumer products into one of anywhere between 15 and 35 categories. These are called North American Industry Classification System categories, NAICS codes. And so think of it like this, that the wireless headphones that I'm wearing or these AirPods that I have, they both have lithium-ion batteries in it, right? Whereas the headphones that you're wearing are wired and don't have batteries in them.
Yeah.
So the odds that this satin in my pocket overheats and blows up and takes out a chunk of my leg is quite high.
Yeah.
Whereas there's no chance of that happening with your wired headphones.
Yeah.
And every insurer, however, is pricing both the risk the same way. They're saying that this is all electronics products. And that goes for the same for, the lamp that's behind me, that's also an electronics product. However, the wiring is plugged in directly into the mains. And so there's different risks, but you're paying the same price across the board with every other insurer because they're putting it into between 15 and 30 categories, right? So all these are electronics products, what I just described. What we do at Assureful is that we price against not 30 categories, but 33,302 categories. And so for us, over-ear wireless headphones are priced differently to in-ear wireless headphones, to differently priced to wired headphones that you have on. We match the risk appropriately to the right product that you're selling. And what that does, and it sounds complicated, but what it is
It's
that
smart.
because we're able to accurately price the risk and looking at accurate sales, we're able to sell insurance, the mandatory insurance, at on average 42% cheaper than every other A-rated insurer in the US.
That's amazing.
That is just insane, because what we're doing is we're taking, it's like, I was telling you earlier, it's like half-priced car insurance. Everyone wants half-priced car insurance. It's mandatory to have car insurance. And imagine if an insurer was out there who is the highest quality insurer with the highest quality product, selling it at half the price of everyone else. That's what we have at Assureful.
That's amazing.
So it's a game changer.
Definitely. How can sellers actually use Assureful to meet the marketplace insurance requirements and get the certificates of insurance?
So you can go on assureful.com directly, apply. There's an option everywhere that says get a quote. Click the green button, say get a quote, go through the steps. It'll take you literally 2 or 3 minutes to do. And then you can get your mandatory commercial general liability insurance at the end of that quote process. Based on the type of products you sell, you can either get a quote right at the end of that 5-minute process, or it will be pushed to an underwriter to review your products, especially if it's slightly higher risk products. And if they, if they mention IntelliRank when they come, we have another product called Seller Defender, which allows for e-commerce sellers, especially around their account suspensions and ACE and D listings. We have an insurance product for that as well. And then they can get up to 3 months free if they mention IntelliRank at checkout.
Oh, that's very generous of you, Rohit. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's about $300 in value, because the product is $100 a month or $99 a month. So they get 3 months for free.
That's amazing. Yeah, I was preparing this for later, but it's a good time as any to present it. You can mention IntelliRank or intelliTALKS. Yeah. And get Seller Defender for free. Thank you for that, Rohit. Sounds very good. And what types of sellers are a good fit for Assureful, including Amazon, Shopify, and let's say multi-channel sellers?
Absolutely, multi-channel. So we don't just cover your one channel like Amazon. Our product covers all your sales channels, including retail channels that you might have, like if you're at Costco or Home Depot. We cover 100% of your global sales. You could be selling your consumer products at Coupang in South Korea. It's covered if you're insured by us. Typically, we see I'd say 80% of our customer base are purely Amazon sellers. And then about 15% of our customer base are both Amazon and Shopify. And 5% are, either Shopify standalone or they're just retail, small Shopify presence, but large Sephora presence. Or, one of our insureds does $400 million, of which 380 comes from Sephora and 20 million from their Shopify stores. And I think 400K from Amazon. So Amazon is tiny for them.
Definitely, yeah.
So all sellers really, as long as the product, if you've crossed $10,000 in sales in any 1 month in Amazon, or you're a Walmart.com seller and you've done, $8,300 for 3 consecutive months, or exceeded that number, then you should get the insurance. And Amazon will tell you to get the insurance as well. But you must have it. We ideally tell people as soon as they start selling, they've sold 1 or 2 units, get insurance, because you're dealing with some guy in China who's made the product for you, or overseas who you've never seen, slapped a label on it, and it could be pretty messy if something were to happen to a child or a pet, or burns down a house or floods a bathroom, and that stuff happens quite frequently.
Yeah, God forbid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do the sellers should actually be thinking about before renewing or buying the e-commerce insurance?
So what sellers should really think about is what works for them. Does your current insurer even understand your business? Do they know the difference between a private label seller and retail arbitrage seller? There's a major insurance company in the US, and I won't name names, but they call all e-commerce businesses mail order and catalog businesses, because they're still stuck in the 1980s when they used to be mail orders and catalogs. And so most insurers don't understand e-commerce. Some insurance brokers understand e-commerce, and which is good. But then they're sending the applications to people who don't understand e-commerce. And so then a lot of the times they're getting what's known as a BOP policy, a business owner packaged policy, which includes slips, trips, and falls in your office. Most of our customers don't have an office. They work from home. They use Amazon FBA.
Right.
They're and so they're overpaying for something that they don't need, because they've got all this extra stuff in a packaged policy that they're paying a higher price for, which they don't really need, because the insurer, it's not malice. They don't understand your business. They're not doing it out of spite. They just don't know what e-commerce is. They understand retail. If you were a florist, if you had a shop and you were selling flowers, they'd understand that. But sadly, marketplace sellers are not understood by insurers. So think about that. If you have a broker that's doing well, talk to them. If they understand your business, talk to them and tell them that you'd like to see a quote from Assureful as well. The thing is that when we put out a quote, we win nearly 90% of the time, because we are so price competitive. And we're actually saving money for sellers, which can then be used to work with you to spend on PPC, right?
Oh, yeah.
And grow the business.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great way to reuse that saving. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Rohit. Yeah.
Or go on a holiday,
But
Hawaii is calling.
whichever comes first, always.
Whichever comes first.
Well, yeah. So where do you think the e-commerce insurance is going next? Embedded, data-driven, and usage-based?
Yeah. So usage-based, of course. I mean, we're the only usage-based insurer on the market for product liability. We have another product called Lost Inbound Insurance, which is embedded, which is focused specifically on the process when sellers ship inventory into FBA. And very often inventory goes lost inbound, as it's called by Amazon. And so we've created the first lost inbound insurance product, where we cover, and this goes back to April of 2025, where Amazon changed the rules. Earlier, when inventory went lost inbound, they would pay you net of FBA fees as a reimbursement. And then they changed that to only sourcing cost. And so what happens then is that Amazon just comes up with an arbitrary sourcing cost for your products, and you're losing money significantly. But that's just one of the things that Amazon does, right? With the policy changes. And so we launched Lost Inbound Insurance to meet the gap between sourcing costs that Amazon pays and net of FBA fees. And that is fully embedded. And so you don't need to make a claim even with us. We automatically identify that inventory has gone lost inbound, that you have filed a reimbursement claim, that Amazon has paid it. And then when Amazon pays it, we automatically pay you, so you don't even have to file a claim. And that's called parametric insurance, right? So that's the direction that we're moving to. And my colleagues in the insurance industry, the other insurers, are still sending 40-page PDF forms out for you to fill, right? So that's what we think as the future of insurance for e-commerce, because our customer base is savvy. They're digitally savvy. They understand, they understand marketplaces, they understand PPC, they understand tech, and yet the insurers don't. And so we're trying to be at the forefront of what's next for e-commerce insurance.
That's amazing, Rohit. Thank you for clearing that up. I have another question. Does Assureful help with insurance for companies in Europe, in LLCs in the US, I don't know, limited companies in China, or only part of those companies?
So today we are national in the US. So we're in all 50 states and DC in the US. So any form of legal entity that's in the US, we can cover. And very often we will have our customers who physically reside in Israel or Bali or somewhere
Romania.
else, Romania, but they have US LLCs.
Yeah.
We can insure them. And we also cover legal entities in Hong Kong. So we're licensed in Hong Kong as well, where we have a lot of Chinese e-commerce businesses who grow beyond a certain size and they can't, well, not they can't, but they don't want to be legally in China anymore because of Amazon's enforcement rules and also their FX rules and like foreign exchange rules at Amazon. And so then they set up a legal entity in Hong Kong. And so we cover US legal entities and Hong Kong legal entities, regardless of where the owner might live.
All right. LLCs and limited companies in Hong Kong. Got it.
Yes. And C Corps in the US and
sole
traders as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, super. Yeah, Rohit, thank you for all this great information. I don't know, did we have anything else to cover from your side?
If you can think of, if you see that there's an opportunity in Europe or something like that, if you're a European seller, drop us a note. And I mean, if you think that there's an opportunity for us to enter your market, you can drop us a note, get on assureful.com, contact us there, connect with me on LinkedIn, however works. And
Amazing.
Don't forget, mention intelliTALKS and you get 3 months of Seller Defender.
Yeah, there we go.
So,
thank you. That's amazing. Very, very kind of you, Rohit. Appreciate that. Appreciate the talk today. For anyone out there, I will put this also in the description. So remember to mention intelliTALKS or IntelliRank whenever you go to assureful.com. And yeah, you'll get 3 months of Seller Defender for free. So that's amazing. I believe this has been very enlightening, at least for me. I have discovered new things that I never thought about before. And also I was an Amazon seller myself. So yeah, you can imagine that, yeah, it's part of the journey. But nevertheless, anyone that has a comment, write it below in the comments, and I'll make sure that Rohit, we reach out to Rohit for any additional questions if needed, or why not more, maybe another podcast if, more questions arise. Why not? Rohit, thank you for the time.
Tell funny stories about insurance claims.
Oh yeah, that would be something. All right.
All right. Thanks, Marshall. Thanks for having me again.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, until next time. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Keep the dream alive, keep pushing through from the first shipment to 1 million streams. We all got here chasing boxes and dreams.